Jason, why don't you just kind of give us a little timeline of some things that have been happening in your life? Give us, kind of where you're at almost, whether it was a year ago or kind of the beginning of this, of 2020, of where you're at in your life personally and kind of how that led into a spiritual transformation.
Yeah. So last March of 2019, I was getting ready to go overseas, and I went over actually in April and was over there for about 10 months. And time over there, I had just been going through a huge, rough personal spot. Personal relationship wasn't really working out. And things were rough, probably the lowest I've ever been in my life. And I grew up, in the Roman Catholic Church, was baptized and confirmed in the Catholic Church and everything, and kind of, became a self-thinking teenager and young adult and thought I knew better and kind of strayed away from the path of, Jesus and everything and the love of God. And something just during the rough times, I guess during the rough seas, you could say, is just something was calling me back. I listened to a lot of heavier Christian music, though. It's something I've always listened to and loved. A lot of bands I listen to preach the gospel and the love of Christ, which I actually like. And I just kept getting pulled back to this one band, August Burns Red, and something reminded me that their lead singer Jake had wrote a Christian devotional book called Mountains, which I had ended up ordering and got sent to me overseas, and found out that another singer for a band called Fit for a King, Ryan Kirby, also wrote a Christian devotional called The Embrace. And I end up reading those, and they really spoke to me and connected, because in them, Jake talks about some personal issues that I was also going through as well in his, and it just helped me. Like I said, something was pulling me back, and it helped me come back to the love of Christ, and rekindling, I guess, and renewing my relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. So let's fast forward to you get back here from being overseas, and one of the first people, or maybe kind of newly first people you went to visit, was your neighbor, or your parents' neighbor, Jody Miola. And that conversation turned into what?
So yeah, I'd come home in January, and I had stopped over to see Jody, because my parents said, I grew up next to Bill and Jody Miola, and my parents had said they, had asked how I was doing and everything. And their son, Ryan, who I grew up with, was actually redoing my parents' bathroom. And I had said hi to him while I was overseas, while he was doing the bathroom. And on a video call, my parents were showing me the bathroom and how nice it was looking. And so I went over and talked to Jody, and she was like, you should come over to church with me. I told her, everything that was going on, just to catch up with Jody. And she brought me in and introduced me to you, who, I'd been to high school with you, and your father, who was the gym teacher. And if I can't describe it, I guess the best way to describe it is it just felt really comforting and welcoming when I first walked into Rome Alliance Church. I just, to be honest, I felt like I was home. I felt like I was at home. Yes, I was home back in the hometown, that I deployed from and stuff. So obviously I was home in that sense, but as soon as I walked in, I just had this smile. I don't know if you noticed that I couldn't really wipe from my face, and it just felt comforting and welcoming, and everyone was welcoming, and it felt home.
A couple weeks after, or a week or two after you came here, I know you and I got together for coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. And I remember, I think we met at it was like 9 or 9:30. And by the time we left that conversation, I think I had to cancel everything off the rest of my books, because it was like 1:30. We were in there forever. Sure. I just remember it was a great conversation. Just share some highlights of that.
Yeah. So we had gotten together for coffee, like you said, at Dunkin', and we just talked more about things that I had went through, and kind of, started doing, discipling and counseling with you to help work through some of those issues, I guess, that I had been, dealing with, and they were still residual things I was dealing with as I came home. And you had asked me, if I wanted to, take the journey and go into, fully committing to, Christ and being a follower, and just following the word of the gospel and everything that, just following everything. And so I said, yeah. And then we I remember you said a prayer right there for me, which was nice and everything. And that's when I kind of made the commitment and been coming to church, and I bring the boys to church, and I have three boys, 3, 8, and 14. And the two younger ones love going downstairs and doing the kids thing, and they love learning. And my 14-year-old loves coming with me and just learning as well. And he's part of the youth group, and he loves, doing stuff with Pastor John and everything. So it's been a great journey so far, and I'm thankful for everything.
Yeah. Let's just go one more step as we fast forward. Tell us, how has your life still being transformed the last couple months? What have you been learning? What's been different in your life because you're following Jesus?
I'm definitely learning to be thankful and to be patient and put my trust completely in the plan that God has for me. I know this is, a verse that I'm always reminded of by someone, that God has a plan, and it's always to prosper us and never hinder or harm us. It's always for our good. Everything he does, all the works he does in our life is for our good. And, obviously when you're going through the struggles in that time, you don't see how could this be good for you, because I obviously didn't. And you see it later on, like, hey, maybe this is what I was supposed to learn from that hardship or those trials or tribulations. And there is good things that come out of it, and there's good things that God has planned for you. And I just continue to learn, and I continue to come and be a part of the community there, and I help out at times as much as I can. And I just wake up every day thankful for everything that I'm blessed with, because I know I've said this to you before, but I like to quote one of the singers of the bands I listen to. His name's Sean McCulloch, and the band's called Phineas. And in their song Dead Choir, he says if he could sum up one thing that his band, the message they like to send out, and it is it's about God's grace. And the lyric is, without grace, we would all be dead. And I truly, firmly believe in what Sean is saying. And without God's grace and his patience and love for us, we wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So,
yeah, cool. I appreciate you sharing with everybody, and just a really big encouragement to people who are watching this. And we are, our mission here is to invite others to share in the hope, healing, and love of the gospel. And you're a living testimony to people seeing that right here at our church. And we're so glad that you and your boys are part of the church family, and we're excited to see how God continues to work in your life. So,
thanks, and I appreciate you, welcoming us with loving arms and everything. So, and it's been a great thing for me and my boys, and I'm happy to see where it takes us.